Hi guys, my name is Mark and today I will show you my brand new gaming PC. Let's go! Yes, I built a new one, and yes, the latest or the last bias video about my 5800 X3D isn't that long away, and honestly it was like something like a final video because I never made it and a lot of people asked me a lot of times, but I was never like down to do it because why there was, for example, there was no precision boost overdrive and curve optimizing in before, and now or in the early dates of the year, I think January, February, there was a point where Asus finally enabled it for me. The main problem for me was like I had a very expensive board, the Corsair Extreme, which was roughly 800 euro in Europe, and this one, for example, had the last BIOS update 1 year before. No joke, 1 year no BIOS update was kinda meh in my opinion because it's the most expensive board, and the Dark, so the Hero Dark had way more updates in between and way more functions, to be honest. If you have a Dark, great, I would love to have one too, but I bought the Extreme because Dark wasn't nearly the same price at this time and nearly unavailable the whole time. So I just made the video in February, I think, or something like that, and it's here on the channel. You can watch it. It's still one of the best, or maybe the best, most inspiring video you can have to make a low latency or low jitter PC setup in BIOS by UEFI to optimize your input feeding on any game. It's no joke, and it's working, and it's for free. It's not like a Tweaker sells you some shit for 300 euro. And it's basically made to give you some advice that you can learn something to understand how your PC performs and works. It's not like a one-to-one copy course, as this is also not a one-to-one copy course to build a system. This is the system I built for myself. How I thought it will be the best system for now, or for me, for the money. This time I didn't spend like 1,200 euro for another Asus Extreme. This will never happen again. I totally went away from Asus, and I think I will never come back to Asus. What is the reason? It's not only the past weeks of shitstorm and about the warranty stuff and about those burned 3800 X3Ds and stuff. It's more about the always rising prices, the premium deals or like exclusive deals they do, for example with AU Optronics, stuff they tell you they've done or they do which they don't do. They don't build the most or best performing main boards or graphics card. That's just not true. And also, in my opinion, you can have the same performance, for example, on a mainboard for half the price, like I have here. This time I chose an ASRock, it's the Taishi Carrara. It's roughly 560 euro compared to the 1,200 euro Extreme. This one is the best bang for the buck you ever saw and ever can buy. And I'm really happy that I have it here and that I can use it, because this one performs extremely good and I really, really like it, to be honest. And I never had an ASRock before. A lot of people told me, yeah, don't buy this ASRock, stay Asus, Gigabyte, MSI, whatever. But I thought, I always see like how fast ASRock is working on the BIOS, how they update it. They have a Reddit only for the systems and where they solve problems and stuff. And for now, I'm really good with ASRock. I love how the BIOS is made, which features it gives me. I have the latest version on it. It's not the totally latest possible. I think they're working on a rework right now because of the voltage problems. But I'm very, very surprised, and it's really good, really easy to handle, really easy to control. But some stuff was like a little bit weird, which I will talk later. But for now, it's like, why I built this PC, because with my 5800 X3D and the 4090 I have now, which I basically only bought for the 5800 X3D because I wanted to play like on my 2K monitor on the Asus AQN, which I also broke the second time. I mean, the first one came broke, the second I broke with my thumb, by the way. Just wanted to play at least 300 FPS on Apex and above 360 on every other game. And I thought the 4090 will kill it. It will just kill it. And yes, this is not an average 4090. That's the Hall of Fame version. And I think it's the only one in Germany and one of a few in whole Europe. I bought it directly from Galax over a connection I had, and I'm very glad and grateful that I were able to buy this. It's an awesome card. It has some disadvantages which you need to learn because it's very special, and the driver for this or to have it driven like you want is nearly impossible. For example, when you drive it or try to use the power bias, which is basically not very supported in programs or by the NVIDIA control panel, but when you use the normal mode or the power savings mode, which is still 550 watts, that's why you see two of those 600 watt connectors. It's still very, very good. Insane card, very good performance. I'm very glad. It also fits very good to the whole design of the system. And you see those white RAMs over there. These are not very special RAMs. They are also not very expensive. They were roughly like 110 euro. And they are 5600 CL28, I think. Now you ask me, yeah, why you made this way? Because when you see the overall timing in nanoseconds and compare it with the fastest G skill with the 3200 C or 3000, it's a 6200 or 6000 CL30, this one is still faster. There is a Corsair, which they say it has Expo, which would be faster than this, just in timings. I don't talk about the rate, I just talk about the timings. Timings on this one, on the 7800 XD, are way more important than like the 5600 or 6600 rates. Huh? It's more important to have very tight timings here. You can also see this on the Linus Tech Tip videos from 3 months ago, where he compared timings and rates for AMD and Intel, where you see that Intel is more in favor of the high rates and AMD is more in favor of the good timings. That's why I decided for this one. But I also have 6400 CL32 here, and I will try to get those 3200 CL30 also to give you another video which is about the bias, about performance, about best latency, and how to set up your system the best way for competitive gameplay, like I always do. And I will take some time, or will need some time to find out. And I also will test which of these RAMs is the best, because you can save a lot of money. I mean, on DDR4 it's not as much as on DDR5. It's the opposite way. DDR5 is less expensive than DDR4 right now. That's why it also don't make sense to, for example, upgrade your B550, 560 board, 550 was to a higher one, to a X570, buy new RAM and the 5800 CD. It's too expensive overall. It's basically 700 to 800 euro, and for the same amount, you can get an entry level of this year of the 7860D. You can start with a 140 euro board, which has no wattage current limit. So it's free. You can just fully use the 7800 X3D. You won't have PCI Express 5. That's fine, I think, for the most of you. You just buy those 110 euro RAMs, and there you go. You're roughly at 650. You are below 700 for sure. And you have a 7800 X3D system. Rest you can use from your old PC, your PCI Express 3 or 4 SSD, for example, and your power supply or whatever. But you will have a 7800 X3D, which is an insanely good made CPU in my opinion. Now you will ask me, but why you had the 5800 X3D, which was also very good? Of course it was good. But in terms of how the RAM controller works, how the SoC was designed, how the overall architecture was, how the SPIs were split, how the interface and interconnections were. It was honestly poorly made. Where you saw it the most you saw it when you use like 2 and you're 4 instead of 2 RAMs. So you just doesn't use dual channel, you used 4 channels on any CPU in there. It was like, it was a mess. Overclocking was very restricted then because you weren't able to hold the voltages over the RAM controller. And for example, the same voltage for the RAM was also the same for the Infinity Fabric and for the sound. That's why a lot of people had insane sound problems with all those 5000 series, and they never realized why. At first was a poor overclocking of your Infinity Fabric, shit RAM, too much RAM banks, or like you used all 4 instead of 2. Always only go for 2 there. I also here will only go for 2, I explain later. And you just had too high voltages, for example. If you ever had more voltage than 1.35 or 1.4 volt on your RAM, it was your Infinity Fabric and the sound was just fucked. That's a huge problem, and no one ever told you. Creative were the only guys who ever mentioned this in Q&A or in an FAQ, where they said if you have a poorly overclocked AMD system, you will have a lot of sound dropout, and it's still this way. The worse your system is overclocked on the 5000 series, the worse the sound is. Here, you can hear sound differences when you change something, but the margin of change on this system in performance is 3%. Some say it's 2.8. I try to prove them wrong in some months, but mostly it's very, very low. And the sound is always very, very good. You only can have it a little bit louder, more cloudy, and a little bit more clear. There are not a lot of settings where you can change this. And there is not a lot of stuff which will change this. But you can hear the difference by changing some stuff like the curve, setting it from -20 to -30, or by using the memory clock divider of 2. If you don't use the memory clock directly to the other, it is also a difference, and you also can feel it in the input. What is good on the system or on the CPU in general? The input overall feeling of mouse and keyboard is insanely clean, very good. It feels like when you go the first time on this PC with the same setup, same game, same sense you always play, you think like, what the fuck has just happened? What did I play on the old one? In Apex, it was like always I had problems with like shotguns and stuff where you just didn't or weren't able to hit your fucking shots. And the main reason was like the processing of the picture and how it was, everything was just processed wasn't maybe fast enough, or I don't know how to say, or wasn't async, or wasn't just good, or my overclocking was trash. I have no clue. With this system, you just hit them and you hit the next one and the next one and the next one. Feeling super direct. It's ultra direct. The whole system with monitor is now at around 6 milliseconds system latency for everything with the display, 6 ms, and it's insane fast. And you feel that it is insane fast. And I tried it, or I mainly play on 2K, so 1440p, and I love it. It's very good. And in Apex, you are stuck at fucking 300 FPS forever. It's like never drops. No matter what, no matter how, you can watch into the lava. Sometimes you are in the dropship on World's Edge, then it goes down to 290, maybe. But then you look a little bit ahead and it's hard stuck 300 again. And that's good. And you feel it, you see it, and the game is performing this way. And that's good. That's why I made this. I wanted to have a better feeling, a better performance overall, a better sound, just the connectivity. It feels so much better. And another thing which is very good here, I get rid of this fucking i225V Intel network card. This one has a killer i3100G. And with this card here, with just normal settings, nothing tuned on, just the normal NIC settings, it connects, it feels direct, it's fast, low latency. It's just better, guys. And I'm pretty sure everyone who is a guy who's playing his game like 4 or 5 hours a day at least, or even 3, but for like some years, for 2 or 3 years, will directly feel a difference to his old system if you go on this CPU and on a system kind like this with low latency or with good RAMs. You will directly feel it. Some disadvantages here, in my opinion, are like the heat, the insecureness right now of the voltages. So you might, or you maybe think you can toast your fucking chip and your mainboard. Would be awful, I know. Here, everything is restricted to 1.35 volts. All good, and it works. And my RAM is also only 1.35 volts, and it's insane. I can easily overclock it. I have different settings to overclock. I just use the XMP because it doesn't have Expo, but I can also tighten the timings still. And it was something impossible on my Asus Extreme, even though I had their extremely overkill RAMs. And these are not even Neos or Expos, as I said. I'm really, really surprised they are this good for 110 euro. And I just, for example, used my old cooler from Watercool, which fits for AM4 and 5. Very good. Huh? You maybe need to mount it on your system like a little spacer, plastic spacer, 4 or 5 millimeters, or just depends on the water cooler you use. I personally would tell you to buy a good one. Don't buy stuff like Lian Li, NZXT, Thermaltake, just those main shit brands. Buy a cooler from a company who's doing real water cooling stuff. Own radiators, own systems, own pumps, own everything. For example, AlphaCool, Arctic, guys like this, buy there. So you basically would need or like be in favor of the expertise of companies like EK Waterblocks, who just built the better AIOs, which sometimes are also extendable or reworkable, refillable, with like stuff from Lian Li, which you can buy on Taobao for 30 euro. They sell you here for 200. You won't do shit because these things are fucking trash. And you can also buy a Alpenföhn for 30 euro instead of 200. Think about it, please. Sometimes just open your eyes and understand what happens. Don't buy trash. And don't buy trash if you want to cool a 7800 X3D. You need a good one, a good performing one. Like a HPE or whatever, HPE. And or something with a Nexus radiator. Just Google this stuff. You will find the products, and they are not super expensive. Don't buy a AIO for 300 euro. For this you can buy an extremely or build an extremely good custom loop. And now you say, yeah, but well, you have also custom loop, or you say AIO, because I know a lot of you are afraid of building this. But I will show you something now, which I have done this time because I was totally fucked up from my old system. It was always connected to the MO-RA. The MO-RA is made by a German brand called Watercool. It's basically 3 radiators made for these guys for 140 millimeter, not for 120. 3 of them. So you have 9 of them here in front, or you use this setup, which is 240 millimeter or something like that. 4 of them. And the MO-RA is also, 60 or 65 thick. And you have like a lot of connectable or connections here. And this one is the Pro, so I would be able to make this push-pull if I want to. What you see here is roughly 1K only for cooling. And now you ask me, but why is it 1K? Problem is, I think the MO-RA alone is 360 or 370. The Pro version is the stainless steel version. So it's for people who like to polish something. And I'm not talking about the thing you're thinking right now. And the rest is also kind of expensive. That's the dual top version. So I have 2 D5s. A D5 also 70, this thing 70. We just calculated just this here with the PCB in it, with the holder, the The 4 Nocturas is also roughly 200, only this. And you're roughly, when you have the connectors and everything with how you make it, with the foots here, with the acetal hood, it's like 1K. 700 for sure, but it's more about 1K. And then you see, I have them here. You can ask me now, what is this? Some of you might know already, these are Coolant's quick connector. You also BitPower has them, and if you buy BitPower, by the way, BitPower is also a lot of other brands at the same time, just buy it there. Now you ask me, what is this? I will show you. I would need to put them a little bit closer together. I made one thing to relocate everything. I thought about, hey bro, why you don't use those quick connectors? I never worked with them before. Before the system, I just built another system, an Intel one, which I'll show you later when ASRock sends me new mainboard. I hope so they do. You just have those two, and from BitPower, for example, they look the same. And I saw a lot of videos like where like cool water cool guys make those videos with the gloves on, and when they spin the graphic card propellers here, the cooler, it's like, whoa, totally nice. For me, it was like, why they make everything in the same direction, so they would have 2 males here and 2 females here. It was for me like, as an retarded German engineer, very unexpected, and I didn't understand this shit, so I thought, I used the male version, which shows me where the water flows. So that's away from the CPU, to connect it with the quick connector made for the intake. And then I have, coming from the dual pump system, the flow male into the CPU. That's it. It's connected now. It's really, really good. Not gonna lie. But I have to tell you the truth, one of each is roughly 21, 22, sometimes 24 euro. So only this is 80 euro. But you can do stuff like, I want to show you stuff like this. And it's fully filled. And it's closed, the system. There's no drip, nothing. Completely dry. You always can dismount it. Now you can tell me, yeah, but when it's on and I dismount, my CPU burns. Of course the fucking CPU burns. It's the same as you would just put off your cooler. But for people who sometimes want to relocate or want to redesign their setup or have like a streaming room and just want to put it somewhere else, this is a very good system. Also, this is a very good system to, for example, make a smaller, redundant water cool circle to take it with you. Take the PC with the water cooling with you with only like a hand radiator built up. Just a small hand. And I'm pretty proud I made this, not gonna lie, because it makes things so much easier. Putting up the MO-RA with the CPU on my old system would be way, way, way more complicated because of the long connectors. And these guys are very stiff because this stuff is also very stiff. I mean, now you think, but other guys have hard tube. No one has hard tube to his MO-RA outside of his Lian. And that's basically it. And the cooling is okay. The bigger problem with cooling is the head spread in general, or the CPU in general, which is not very good made. I will maybe direct dye it in some weeks when I go further to make another video for you guys, which is about optimization and about the right BIOS setting and about what you can do wrong with what you don't do, and so do's and don'ts, and maybe how to better cool and get way lower temperatures with a smaller cooling system than a MO-RA. That's some stuff I want to show you in the future with this system, as I think a 7800 X3D is very future safe, future proof. And one thing I also would like to mention right now already is if you want to play a 4:3 stretch resolution Counter-Strike with this one, it's maybe not the best choice. I tested it on Full HD with the workshop map. It's average of 900 FPS. but stretched I had some problems kinda. I don't know why, but I will find out soon, at least for the next video, where we will compare some performances. I also will try some different RAM setups also, and then I will show you. Maybe I will also just put in for fun another graphics card and see how the power is then. So that's basically it for now. I hope you enjoyed it a little bit. I mentioned a lot of stuff, and I think for the first just bare overview about this system, it's very good. Be aware there will be another video about the system just for the performance and for overclocking. And keep in mind, if you spend 700 on a 5000X3D system, you also can buy a 5800 X3D system. You can instead buy a system like this. Of course, everything you see together is way more expensive, but you can have a very good, very cheap base, because the boards and the RAM are way cheaper for this series already, so for this architecture, than it is for the old ones. Keep this in mind. Thanks for watching. If there are any questions, put it down in the comments below. See you on the next video. Bye.